So I'm running for USU to represent the students' voice in the USU while providing the best interests of the USU at the same time in meetings. I feel like the best interests of the board would be what the students' goals are in order to make them happy, because if you give the students what they want, it'll be in the best interests for the board, as like the students won't go against them. I really want to create a life hub sort of centre, a newer building and more central to campus, closer to the quad, than just trying to focus more money on like mental health, shifting I guess like a shift in finance in all the areas just to focus on like more mental health, because post-COVID that is probably really important. Well, it is really important, I know it is. I want to turn Manning Bar and like revive it again and make it more like a nightclub bar on one night of the week and see how we go with that, just like how the Marley runs. And I also want to create like a salad bar in Courtyard, because I feel like healthy alternatives, like just one isn't enough when there's only one salad, and I think we need more options. Yeah, I'm in the Young Libs. So I am a part of like Sulk, but like they're not really like supporting, like backing me fully like for the campaign, so I'm kind of running as an independent if you think about it. But no, I honestly vote for whoever I think is best for the position, and I would never vote for someone just because they're a part of my faction, unless they're like a great candidate that I think would do the job well. So I've campaigned for online campaign for Ben Hines. I just changed my profile picture. Katie Brown, and then Josie for SRC. Like spectrum wise, I'm not like the most liberal person, and I'm like not the most leftist, I guess. And so I'm pretty central, I think, personally, because I come from like a really apolitical family, so. I think the USU should be like extremely apolitical. One, because everyone who it represents has different beliefs, or even doesn't even have political beliefs, and you should like represent everyone like for their interests, so you can't just pick one side. So I think the USU should be apolitical. If the USU represents the students' voices, they should always take stances, and I'm happy that we're not doing 12-week semesters. Well, everyone's already kind of preferenced everyone, and like of course I'm open to preferences. I think you should pick like who you really want to be on board with, like whether you've known them for years or whether you like their policies more. I'm actually pretty impressed with them. I really love how Ruby and some of the others like organised the Manning party. I think that was like a great kind of spark to the kind of club life that I want, but like more recurring. So I'm proud of them. They've done a good job. I really like Belinda Thomas to become president. It would be my nightclub one, I think, because everyone loves to party. Like, especially in Australian culture, I feel like drinking is like a big thing that people do here. Like, people just drink a lot. So I feel like if there are more events where like there's a bar and stuff, people are more inclined to come back to campus. And even if all their classes are online, they would feel like, oh, I'm gonna miss out. I'll come back and have a couple of drinks with friends that I'm on that online class with. You know how we have Welcome Week 1 at first semester? I feel like we should have the same like things happening in second. Some students don't start at the start of the year and they miss out, so I think they should experience the same things that I experienced in my first semester. Yeah, I think with the in-camera topics, like specifically, they have like a transparency issue. They would always be there because things are like decided behind closed doors. If they don't want it to be in camera, there should at least be a transcript published if their voices like of the students are actually being represented, like of every other big company out there. So you know how much the CEO earns, or you know how much the director earns. To make sure that it's abided by is to like probably make sure that there's always an invitation or like a calendar that could be shared with like you guys and other media, so you can follow. So even if there's not an invitation, you're still allowed to show it because you know that like it's on that day. Not 100% comfortable, but if it's if it's a decision that all the directors have made that the president speaks about, I'm comfortable with that. If they say something about like that doesn't align with like what we said in the meeting, or like what like I don't think that like truly represents everyone's voices, I would probably be uncomfortable in that scenario. I probably wouldn't break that because I wouldn't want to pay legal fees because they're so expensive and I don't work that much to pay all that. Like an increasing funding would be good to add to the model because societies, even though yes for some events, like because the old model was a bit, like their funding was a bit more, or was it the new one? Something about the funding was just a tiny bit more.
The old one.
The old one? Yeah, I think we should like adapt to a newer one that relates more to the older one with more funding because I think societies, they're literally what like our students go to every time. Personally, if the USU aligned with the whole JobKeeper thing, if they cut staff hours, it would have been great because then the staff would have worked less but then still being paid by JobKeeper for it, for those hours worked. Yeah, staff hours, probably they could have been cut. Mine were, but I don't know. I'm sure it's fine. But not like a lot, but like a couple hours a week I think is fine. Look, it probably was an escalation, I assume so. But I'm not scared to be working with someone of a high figure, like it's fine. I'm sure they will always be open to listen to any of the director's views. And yeah, you shouldn't be scared of, just because of their position, you shouldn't be scared to speak to them. I think to a little degree it does compromise its independence because it's kind of like an inside person from the university that kind of knows everything that's happening, which I guess wouldn't be a problem if everything was published. In no matter like what scenario, if there is something to be criticised, it should be, and it should be published, regardless of if it's the USU or not. For example, if PULP, like it shouldn't be as controlled, but it should be controlled by a member, like in PULP, like someone has to approve, like all the articles from PULP. So like submitted, even like an editor or whatever, just to make sure, depending what's published, if it like aligns with PULP. But I think, yeah, freedom of speech, like you should write whatever you want. Let's say something was written about the board director. Obviously they're not going to approve it because it's about themselves and it's criticising them. And that doesn't allow, like, it doesn't allow students to see what that board, like certain board director is doing. Actually couldn't go.
Oh, you didn't go?
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, because I got really sick and I had like a throat infection, which was terrible. I totally wish I went. I saw all the Instagram stories. I was there virtually through everyone's Instagram.